Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuro encoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuro encoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. I am super excited to have Arron Lloyd on today. Arron is an accomplished theater, TV, and film actor with a passion for storytelling and, of course, personal growth. We're going to talk a lot about that today. Certified one-star dual elite neuroencoding specialist. He's raised in the inner city environment with a strong military lineage, including a Purple Heart recipient from World War I. That was such a great story to talk about before. And dedicated to helping others encode their minds for success using a blend of faith, confidence, and, of course, neuroscience. My friend Arron, tell us a little more about yourself, will you?
Big Mike, man, it's such a pleasure to be here again. Thank you for that intro. Again, my name is Arron Lloyd. I'm originally from a place called Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is about an hour outside of New York City. When people think of Connecticut, obviously Connecticut has its very rich, wealthy areas. Bridgeport was not like that. So what's unique about my experience is that while my immediate experience was more on the lower middle class, impoverished, gangs, drugs, all that kind of area, you can literally cross 10 minutes down the road and be wealthy. So I had both ends of the track there. Grew up in a single parent home. I'm the oldest of three, and I've always wanted to act. So that's what I'm currently doing in the professionally. And I'm also a dual elite neuroencoding specialist to help people get further faster because I want to live a purpose-filled, fulfilling life.
Fantastic, man. And that you do. I got to say, Arron is one of the best people I know. So, today, before we get started, I just want to point out on the top right-hand corner, there's a blue QR code that takes you to empowerperformancestrategies.com. Again, empowerperformancestrategies.com for everybody listening later on the podcast forums. Please scan that QR code or go there. We have free ebooks for veterans and their families. Thank you, sir. We have Facebook groups. Get involved. Be part of the mission. So check that out. So with that said, today we're going to talk a lot about faith and confidence. So when we talk about that, it can be spiritually with God. It can be just spiritually within yourself, source, whatever that means to you. But faith, I think what we're talking about today has a little bit of that, but it's also just about faith in yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, faith in yourself is fundamental. And I was reflecting on this because I knew this was coming up, and I think when we talk about source or faith in yourself, it brought me back to like the unlikelihood that any one of us will be here. And what I mean by that is simply this: the sperm and the egg, the billions of sperm cells, one egg. The chances, the odds of us being here are very, very slim to none. So when we think about faith and that faith within ourselves, we've all heard stories of a mother that has a child under a car or something like that. And all of a sudden she has this massive energy and massive will to get that baby up under there. What is that? We have that latent within us. It's about how do we unlock that? And faith essentially is just an immense trust and belief in ourselves. And it's the substance of things hoped for. Everything, this chair that I'm sitting in right now once was invisible and now it's visible. So the question becomes, how can you take the visions and the belief and the dreams planted in your heart that are there for a reason, I believe, based on what I just said, sperm cell and egg. You are here for a reason. Everybody has different purposes. It might just be to enjoy the beauty of life. It might be because you want to do something amazing or something like that. But each and every one of us have a purpose in this life. And it's up to us to take that heart, that yearning in us, that internal knowing, and having the faith that that's ours. And it's our gift to bring that. And that's, to me, I feel like that's our gift back to our creator for this amazing gift of life that we have.
Amen, man. I love many points you just brought up, my friend. So let's go back to kind of the beginning before we get into the faith and the confidence. How do you know, hey, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm going to find purpose. This is my calling. How do you find it?
I think I'm very kind of blessed in that regard because I know there's some people who still struggle with their purpose. I remember as an actor, I have a very practical mind. I understand that the entertainment industry is, well, first I had to have the faith that I'm gonna get out there in the city. And then I said, I'm gonna be an actor, which needs an incredible amount of faith as well. So, because it's not a guaranteed profession. But I remember going back in high school, I remember walking the hallways. I was like, is there anything else that I can do? Is there anything else that I can do? And nothing else ever came up. I wanted to do it. And I that faith piece, I just felt in my bones. I felt like this is, I believe I can do this. So that key word, I believe I can do it. Where it comes from, I think if we're thinking about it practically, I've done it. I got, people said you can do it, but I have not always been kind of like an external, I'm more internally motivated. So like I felt like I could do it. And it was helpful when people said, wow, you have a gift for this. So I think a combination of grace of like the right person saying the right thing at the right time. And that's what became my belief. And then also just a culmination of just my own genetics, or like whatever that is, of believing that I can do this. And then also a fundamental belief that what I said earlier, we all are here for a reason. I don't think that we're here by accident. So I think that if we have something in our heart, the road might be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing else I'd rather do. I would be miserable. And that's what propelled me forward.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It really is. So let's take a step further. Okay, you knew you wanted to be an actor. You had that faith from being very young. You knew it in your bones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Neuroencoding Institute, what changed to have you choose to join the Neuroencoding Institute and go more to being a coach as well and helping other people?
Yeah, so my foray into acting is a little unique. When I was in third grade, there's a great music teacher. I originally wanted to be a musician because my grandmother loved Etta James and Earth, Wind and Fire. I wanted to play the sax. And public school system, we didn't have, no, I wanted to play the trumpet actually. And the public school system didn't have the budget for a trumpet. So I ended up with a different instrument, but I started learning these instruments. Miss Patterson, my music teacher, cast me in my first play. And being a part of that play did two things for me. It kept me out of trouble at an age. It kept me something to do after school, and then also helped me engage with my sisters more. And it gave me something to hold on to. So I had a desire for something more than what I saw around me. And then two, when I got to sixth grade, I went and saw a play at the high school I would later attend called Profiles Theater, which was a peer educator group, which took the arts and educated through entertainment. And what I mean by that is like things like gang violence, drug abuse, suicide awareness, all these things that people are going through, and they would educate the youth through that. So then I made a link, wow, this is not only fun, but I can actually help people. So my foray into acting, besides having the belief that I want to do this because it's fun and I want to do this, has always been, the foundation has been, how can I use any platform that I'm blessed with, wherever the career goes, to help people? So the foray into Neuroencoding Institute was very easy. Because one, I want to be the best person I can be, and Neuroencoding Institute provides that. It helps me grow myself, so we're not teaching theory. And then two, it helps me have the real skills from world-class, many world-class people that have poured into us, you and I, to give us the same skills they're equipped with and more, and then some, to be able to help do the same thing for others, because it's that ripple effect. And I think the unique thing in all these things, and I know I'm talking a mile a minute, so I'm gonna slow down.
You're good, man. You're good. I'm loving it.
Like Joseph, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, all these people had that one situation where somebody took them under the wing and taught them everything they knew. And then that ripple effect, I just mentioned earlier, that one thing that somebody says, that kind thing, like Joseph has his stories. Now who knows what ripple effects by that person talking to Joseph years and years and years ago now have in our lives, and people yet unborn that I might impact, because somebody that watches this, or you impact, that somebody watches this, you help a veteran's family. Now they have a kid. Now they're in a better place. That kid grows up. That kid goes on to impact. You don't know the ripple effect that you have as a part of this. So I feel very blessed and fortunate to serve in that way, in that capacity.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And I got to tell you, again, multiple things you touched base on there. It was that ripple effect first. It's amazing because you don't know it, right? You have faith. Let's go back to that, right? You have faith. So when and then you find out later on, oh, you know what? You changed my whole family's trajectory, or you changed my acting career, because all of a sudden I saw that and it said, I can do this. And you had that confidence, or whatever the case may be. So I think it's super important. I went through, something, where at 51 years old, I, said, after being in the construction industry my entire life, what do I want to be when I grow up? And, of course, my wife, I talked to her, and that's why I'm here, and honestly, I have never felt more fulfilled in my life than doing what I do now.
I love that.
Ever. I mean, that's a lot of years, my friend. You'll see.
I see. And you have a lot more ahead of you too, man. So it's great.
Amen, man. As long as I'm doing good on this earth and I'm helping some people to not have the struggles that I had growing up, that's why I do what I do with veterans and their families, man. So, amen. So let's talk more about faith. How do you really, if it's not just in your bones, like you said, right? Mm-hmm. What are some things that you would tell veterans and their families? How do you build that faith?
So I would say practically, the way to build faith is to guard the gates of your mind. And we can get into the subconscious and conscious. If somebody says, if somebody, I always use this example. If you or I were walking down the street, or we're in the mall, and somebody was saying, John, neither you or I would respond, because who's John? No matter how loud they were getting, it's like, wow, why is that guy yelling John? You must be looking for somebody else. So I liken that to the things and the belief structures that are not even ours sometimes, that people have said to us throughout our lives. If somebody's saying that you're stupid, or that you'll never get better because you have PTSD, or that your family's going to be ruined because of this, or whatever it is, those belief structures, even though they feel real in the moment, are there also stories of people who have triumphed that? Are there also people and resources that are helping people like you, Mike, that are helping people create new stories and create those new belief structures? So guard the gates of your mind, and then faith comes through repetition, from hearing and hearing and hearing over and over and over again. Now, as neuroencoders, you and I both know that this goes beyond just saying I am great or I am healed in the mirror, because people can say I am, and have these affirmations for years and get nowhere. What we do is help them encode this in their body, so it defaults, so it's automatically, it's in their subconscious, they live it, they breathe it, it's who they are. So I think that's the value that you bring to the veterans, and beyond working with the resources that they have available, finding examples of people who have overcome the similar things that they have, to give them the faith that they can as well.
Absolutely. And it does come down to the belief systems, right? We have that table, we have the legs of the table. When you have disabler or enabling thoughts or belief systems, you can change those and just break one out, and instill, and there's obviously more to it, but instill that positive belief system, and little by little you have a whole new trajectory in your life and thought process, which is what we do, which is just it's a when you see it happening, and I know you've seen it too. Yes. When you change someone's belief systems, or you give them the skills to change their own belief systems, I should say, it's one of the most amazing, beautiful things to see.
It's beautiful.
Can you give me a time when we're talking about that faith, that you've seen someone besides yourself, maybe in the acting industry, or that you've coached, whatever the case may be, if someone that you've seen it happen to? And again, confidentiality matters, but tell us someone about, something about that, if you will.
There's somebody immediately came to mind, and obviously confidentiality, there actually multiple people have come to mind. There's somebody in mind right now, without getting into their things, that many times have consulted with me because they were not living the life that they wanted to, and now are on dream shows. I'm thinking about somebody else who struggled with confidence, their own self-image, and things like that after working with me. And I worked with this person for an extended period of time, and they have made transformations. And I think what's great about what we do as well is that not only has the transition happened while they were working with me, it's sustainable. When I check on them 6 months, 7 months down from the road, they're still making the changes that they need to. And I personally think that that's an indicator of a great coach. So, when you want to have coaching consistently to help you get to new levels. And I think a great coach can help you have the skills within yourself, so you're still sustaining yourself even months down the road. And then you consult with that coach again to get to new barriers and things like that. So I'm thinking of those two people, one which their confidence and self-image has helped them create more income for themselves, and then another where they're doing things and on shows that they never thought they could be on before.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And it's funny because I think everybody has this experience in their life at some point where you're like, oh yeah, that's crazy. There's no way, And then all of a sudden you look back and it's like, yeah, I thought that, but look at where I am now.
Yes.
And that's what creates those new belief systems, right? Seeing that success. That's the fastest way I've seen it change. It's like, oh well, yeah, I thought that before, but now look. And you can go back in your life with the goals and things and those successes and really change and it can create that faith. Let's talk about confidence. What is the difference for you between faith and confidence, or how are they actually aligned?
So confidence is just confiding in yourself consistently. So the way it links with faith is that if faith comes from hearing over and over again a certain thing, confidence, how you confide in yourself, and sometimes the thoughts and the way you confide in yourself you're not even aware of, right? But once you start confiding in yourself in a certain way, then you start taking different actions. So it's always think, feel, do, have. So what you think about yourself, the world around you, and people other people is going to dictate how you feel, which is going to dictate what you do, which is going to dictate the action and activity that you do or do not take. And that activity is a major part of confidence. So if somebody is struggling with confidence right now, one thing that they can do is decide on one thing, one small thing that you're going to do. It's January 2025. People are setting New Year's goals and they want to have great things. Maybe start, if you want to climb Mount Everest, you don't start by running up Mount Everest. You start by saying, well, I'm going to research online the proper gear to wear to climb Mount Everest. And I'm gonna reward myself for that. Taking those small actions over and over and over again. And then also for veterans, your team, when you're in the military or something like that, and you're a veteran, you know the value of team. You know the value of different strengths and different weaknesses. Not everybody has the same strengths. Not everybody has the same weaknesses. So leaning into your strengths, acknowledging your strengths, building from your strengths, and then areas that you're weak in, say, hey, this is an area I'm good at. Like, I need your help. Can you help me with this? And then you have synergy with that, where you can build even more confidence from a collaboration. So I think that's the way you can build confidence. And then the faith piece comes, it happens synergistically. It's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy from there. Because the more action you take, the more you believe that you can do this, the more faith that, like, hey, this has happened for me before, I can do this. And you mentioned this earlier, I was going to bring it up. You mentioned how when, in the past, that belief structure, you can literally go back in your past, say, well, I accomplished that. Then I could do this forward. I can do this again,
Absolutely. So, I think it's super important, like you said, just taking those action steps, have a plan, go online, talk to friends, ask for friends for help. Here's the biggie, right? How many people struggle with asking for help?
I've been guilty of it.
I think anybody that says they haven't at some part of their life, and thank you for the vulnerability and honesty, but I think just about anybody sometime in life has to say, yeah, I didn't want to ask for help. I mean, let's just go back to the old joke, right? Men don't like to ask for directions, right?
Yes.
They don't want to help. But how much further and faster will you get if you do?
It's facts. It's big facts.
How much faster? I mean, you're going to go in the circle and keep taking a left turn, or you're going to know where to take that right turn to get to Brooklyn or wherever,
Yeah.
It baffles me how often we are scared to ask for help or just don't have the courage. But it's really one of the most courageous things we can actually do, right?
It's true.
Yeah. Tell me a time in your career or in your life, if you will, where you didn't have the faith for something or the confidence yet, but you asked somebody for help or just question, which when you ask somebody a question, it's asking for help because you're using, picking their brain, if you will. Give us an example of something that was kind of monumental in your life, if you will.
I am getting goosebumps right now because when I think of this person that is really, when I did allow myself to be vulnerable in that way, I remember the exact day. It was in New York City. In Central Park, there's a theater called Delacorte Theater. I remember the first conversation I had with this person. Shout out to Gaius Charles. He's a great friend of mine, and now a brother of mine. Like it started as a mentor mentee kind of relationship. Then it's become like we're friends and brothers. Like I'm checking on. So if you're not familiar with Gaius, Friday Night Lights, Grey's Anatomy, he's gonna be in the upcoming Walking Dead. This is when I was sleeping on the floor in the Bronx, and I was really struggling with faith. I was like, man, I'm doing everything I can, and I'm struggling. And I became aware of his work via Friday Night Lights. I loved his work, and then I started watching interviews. I was like, this guy seems like a solid guy. He's having this massive success. Seems like he moves with integrity. I want to pick his brain. That's kind of career and kind of person I want to be. Should I have any success? So I literally wrote him a letter, and right now I share the exact template of what I wrote to him. I wrote him a letter just asking for help, sharing with him some of the vulnerabilities I was going through. Sometimes I do struggle with faith. I see that that's important to you. How do you navigate the industry and have that? And the man wrote me back. He emailed me back. I remember the day I got it. A big smile. I was like, I didn't think this dude was going to get back to me, but he did. So you never know. And then we had a conversation, and I was going to that first call because I asked for 15 minutes of this time. I'm thinking it's going to happen for one call. So I got my notebook and I'm like, let me take as much as I can. And he was like, okay, 15 minutes. He was like, okay, yeah, call me up anytime. I was like, what? I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. And I sure did, bro. Mike, I tell you, I reach out for help, and I still call him and pick his brain about different things now, industry things, and just different things of how you navigate when you have that level of success, so he's been very, very, very valuable, and he's a solid person. So if you're not familiar with his work or him, I encourage you to watch his work and get acquainted with him. He's a great guy and a great actor.
Fantastic. And again, those are the stories you go back and say, man, that changed things,
Yeah.
And to have somebody that you respect in your corner and he's there also builds some confidence and faith too, right?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's awesome, man. So you got it. I'm going to share mine, right? I reached out to Joseph McClendon III saying, hey, can we be on my 50th? Let me go back. I didn't. I that's what came later. I reached out saying, hey, I was just starting this podcast and I was wondering if Joseph might be interested in coming on, and I'm like, just send it out there because you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. Just remember that, everybody. If you don't try, if you don't ask the question, you will never know the answer. And guess what? They challenged me, right? I was just starting the podcast. Yeah, Joseph will be on. He'd be happy to be on once you've done your 50th episode. So you get used to it. Get used to the podcast and build that and so on. And sure enough, he's on. But I never thought, Joseph McClendon speaks in front of thousands of people. I mean, of course, he's a mentor and he's always available for us in the Neurocoding Institute, but still, didn't think that, right? Yeah. And then, of course, he's going to be on next Wednesday, for the 100th anniversary, or 100th episode celebration, which is, awesome. But here's the thing, like with you, if you don't reach out, you don't know. If you don't ask, if you don't put yourself out there, become vulnerable and be a little courageous, you never know. And what could be by a simple email? I mean, look at Mr. Lloyd here. It's fantastic. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that story. I'm sorry, it popped into my head and I had to share as well.
No, please.
Not a lot of people know that, Yeah. So, with your family's military history, I just want to kind of pop to something else really quick. Do you see parallels between the discipline, because we're talking about, faith and courageous and moving forward, the discipline with military life and kind of what you've ingrained in you, with it was your grandfather, is that correct?
My great-grandfather, great.
Thank you. Yeah. And just knowing, and I know it was I believe it was your cousin that wrote a book and so on. Do you feel that? I mean, does that discipline and so forth that do you bring that into your life as well to move forward with things?
I do. And a lot of the men on my father's side of the family represent different branches of the military, Marines, Air Force, Navy. And I would say, to answer your question, absolutely it does. When I think of the military, when I think about veterans, I think of certain characteristics. I think of valor. I think of integrity. I think of courageousness. I think of grit. I think of teamwork. And there's the list goes on. And I think these men and women, these heroes, they do their best to embody that. And through their example and their leadership, they embody that. And if you can take and grasp that, the teamwork, and implement that in your own life, that is what helps you create discipline for what it is that you want to do. And discipline is just doing the things that you don't want to do many, many times until it becomes easy for you. And it's required for you to get to where you want to be. I don't know anybody that has created anything magnificent in your life that has done it without discipline. And I think if they do get lucky and they have discipline, they won't be able to sustain it. You need to be able to sustain what you create. And I think that if you do get lucky, you hit the lotto or something. The perfect example, people that win the lotto, they don't have that money anymore after it's gone. So I think stewarding what you have through building foundations of characteristics and character can really, really, really benefit people in terms of their personal transformation, not only for themselves, but those around them. Because when you are shining, it encourages other people to shine too. At least I'd like to think so.
Yeah, absolutely. I love you said that, because literally when people see you shining, because let's talk about veterans, but discipline in general, when you show that and you do that, people see it. And then when you're shining because of the success that you're getting, and you're not only that, but just doing it, how much better do you feel about when you go to the gym compared to when you say, I'll do it tomorrow, right?
Yes.
You feel better, right? And when you start shining within yourself, and you start drawing those same types of people, because they want that in their lives, or you bring those other people up, which is super important. Which I think it's an amazing point you bring up. So let me ask you, with, how do I say this? So when you started dreaming about being an actor, or you knew you're going to be an actor, and it started becoming real, and you started building that confidence even more so, what kept, I know there's going to be discipline in there, but what other thoughts did you keep reminding yourself, or to keep that grit, like you talked about with veterans and the other things you mentioned, what kept you just pushing? Because you don't, like you said, with discipline, it's not you go to the gym once and you come out looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? You got to keep working it, you got to keep doing it and repeating it. So what were some of the things you told yourself, or that really drew you to stay in that disciplined mindset?
So a couple things. One is the amount of sacrifice that I've already made, the amount of pain that I've gone through. It wouldn't make sense to stop. Now, if I had a desire to not act anymore, I'd find something else. But as long as it's in my heart to do, what is the alternative? I've sacrificed so much. It's been such a huge part of my life already. It's either one of two things. Either I'm going to adjust my expectations of what's possible in terms of where my career is going to go, or I'm going to keep that expectation and assess and say to myself and get honest. And this is where self-reflection comes in. Am I really playing the way I need to play in order to hit this that I need to be? Les Brown shared a story with us on stage where he was talking about he played football. And do you remember this story where he's playing football and the coach told the biggest guy on the team, yeah, Les Brown talking about your mama or something like that. And and that guy came and hit Les, and it hurt. And Les was like, yeah, I can do anything I want to, but I don't know if this is worth getting hit like this. I don't want to be an NFL star, so I'm going to do something else. For me, I want to act, right? And there's certain variables that aren't within my control. We can stack the odds in our favor for sure. And that's what I teach some of the clients that I work with, and they get results. And I also think that it's the pain or the sacrifice that I've already made. I would be letting myself down. I'd be letting my family down. I'd be letting other people down. And then also all that time that I could have gone to an extra party or two, but I didn't. And I was sacrificing in those books. I was sacrificing studying my lines. There's no way in heck that I'm going to not act as long as I have the desire to do that. Now I might have to adjust the expectations. Okay, well, shoot, I didn't book that role, but I can go on YouTube. I can do this. The availability for me to act isn't going anywhere. I can always act, period, as long as I'm passionate about it. That's shifting and adapting the expectation. And I think, ironically, out of that, when you move with that kind of freedom, it attracts more opportunities. So one was the pain of not stopping it. And two, what is the alternative? What else am I going to do? This gift of life, coming back to that. If we've been given this gift, if we all have this purpose, and this is what I feel like is for me to do, what's the alternative? I'll be a shell of myself. I can add things onto what I do as long as it aligns with my purpose. but what's the alternative? There is no. It's like burning the boats, or if military people, it's like the mission is the mission. There's no alternative. We going in here, we getting the mission, that's it.
Absolutely. And do me a favor, because I love that. Explain burn the boats.
So burn the boats is a concept. I forget what military journal did this, but there were some ships and they were invading a boat, or I think they were invading an island, not inviting, or they were taking the island back or something like that. And the general said, men, there's one alternative. This is our mission. We're taking this island back, and he set these boats on fire, meaning that there was no retreat. They can't get home. So what's the alternative? What I have to do this. There's no other alternative. Yeah, now I'm committed. There's like, it's either we getting took or we taken. It's like that's it.
So, and I appreciate that, because it's one of the driving forces. It's when you want something and there is no alternative, you find a way. You're resourceful, or you might not have all the resources, but if you are resourceful, you will find them.
Yeah,
because boats are burned, man. Yep. So alternative's not pretty. Thank you for sharing that story. Hey, Arron, we're at time. Unfortunately, actually, we're a little past already. I know it feels too fast. So if we can, how do people reach you? How do people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Arron Lloyd, ARRONLLOYD, or Arron Empowers. It'd be my pleasure to serve you. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Fantastic. And reach out to Arron, man. Whether you're an actor or, he is just a phenomenal human being. I say that truly. One of the best guys I know out there, and he has the absolute drive to want to help. So reach out if you have questions or you think he can help you, and especially in your acting career. He's got courses, he got all kinds of stuff that can help. So with that said, 3 tips to get veterans and their families further faster.
3 tips for families and their veterans is 1, have faith. And what do we mean by faith? We discussed it a lot in this episode. It doesn't have to be a higher power if you don't believe in one. Personally, I believe in one. It could be whoever you want. I don't think falling on your own humanness is enough, because we're fallible, right? Whereas divinity is not. So if you can lean on that and surrender to that, I think that can help you. How do you surrender to that? By hearing the things you want, whether it be affirmations, whether it be working with Mike so he can neuro encode some of those things. The second thing I would recommend is get in touch with your emotions. There's a great book that a friend and mentor put me onto by Brené Brown called Atlas of the Heart. And what this book is it helps you identify the emotions that you're feeling. So if you are a veteran and because of the nature of what you have to do, you've been cut off for a little bit, you might have challenges identifying what you're feeling. And when you can't feel it or you can't articulate it, then it becomes self-destructive. Right. So being able to identify what it is, like, do you know the difference between pride and hubris? Do you know the difference between bittersweet and love? All those kinds of different things. Those are emotions that I think once you identify, you can get further faster with that. And then lastly, I would say that get in touch with what you want. And what I mean by that is if you are going through PTSD, I don't have this, so I can't speak from experience. There's probably people that are better equipped to know what that is. Like, what I imagine though, is if you have that, focus on what you want. Who were you prior to that? Do your family members represent you as kind? Were you loving? Were you sweet? Were you powerful, courageous? Those kinds of things. Lock in on that and burn the boats from that. And that's what I'd say.
Absolutely love it. Thank you for those tips. Arron, thank you again for being on here. Time is the most precious resource we have as human beings. We do not get it back. So thank you for spending some time out of your life to spend with me and, of course, our audience. Dropping some golden nuggets, man. Appreciate you.
Much love, much love. Be blessed, y'all.
We'll see. We'll have Arron back soon, I promise. All right, everybody. We are out of here.
Peace.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.